Great. Thank you very much once again. I would like to start by sharing my screen. And to start with, the knowledge partners and the thought leaders. Dr. Reshma has logged in. Alex from Canada has sent his recorded message to us. I'm expecting Dr. Aaron also. Nalin from New Zealand, very late here. We appreciate that, but he has logged in. Chris from Australia, logged in.
Left side bumper is not damaged, no, the light is damaged.
And I'm awaiting Aravila also. She is from Philippines. Knowledge partners, we start from right.
Yeah, but I didn't raise the insurance.
Can you go on mute, please? As of now, I'm muting all. Right. But I'll request all to unmute at a moment. So please do that. Business leaderboards, right from right to left. Continuity, New Zealand, Squared Apples, Stone Road, Catalyst, Consultancy Services, and B4 Crises. With us, our special guest today, Dr. Anil Chawla. He is fellow of IIM Ahmedabad, data privacy expert, HR veteran, management consultant, and author. We are privileged to have him to be releasing this report for us. And when I request him to come up, I'll request him to take a few extra minutes to talk about himself also. With this, I'm starting with Alex recorded message he has sent from Canada.
Welcome to the formal release of the Emotional Impact Assessment Survey findings. I'm Alex Fullick. A little bit about myself. You may know me from my Voice America Talk radio show and or YouTube channel, Preparing for the Unexpected. I've been in the industry for 24 years. I have 8 published books. I presented at conferences around the globe. I have all my business continuity certifications and have even taken a recent certification on organizational resilience specialist course, which was facilitated by our survey leader, Daman Sood. I reached out to Daman, actually, to clarify, I reached out to him after he had expressed interest in being a guest on Preparing for the Unexpected. So we recorded a couple of episodes, and in one, he was talking about the emotional impact assessment. I thought it was rather interesting and reached out to Daman afterwards and said, you know, how can I be a part of this? A small part or a big part? And since then, a couple of months ago, been promoting the survey, responded to the survey, and going through the findings, and here we are today. I think it's important that we do find out how people feel, especially considering the recent year and a half of COVID-19. I think a lot of people are feeling lost, confused, unsure of what's going to happen in the future, where their lives are heading, what are the things that have impacted them that they may not even be aware of. For a long time, organizations have been saying that people, their employees, are the biggest asset to their organization, yet we don't really dig deep to find out how people are really feeling. It's almost a taboo to ask these kind of personal questions and really find out how employees are feeling. What do people feel through these situations? And leadership stays away because sometimes it can be a really uncomfortable topic to approach and discuss. So this survey, the Emotional Impact Assessment Survey, has some interesting findings. Some reference and confirm some of the other surveys and news articles and reports that have been published previously. And some of them, which are rather interesting, contradict them. So it really depends on where you are in the world and maybe at what time we're asking questions. But it does give some insight on where people are, and what they're thinking, and potentially where things could be going afterwards. We may be on the cusp of a fourth wave of COVID-19 regarding the variant, Delta variant that is out there right now, but we could have a fifth wave, and it could be related to people's mental health and well-being. And this survey might shine a light on some of that and what we have to look forward to and what we're going to need to work on going forward.
Thanks, Alex, for the recorded message sent earlier from Canada. I'm not sure whether other colleague, professional fellow, Dr. Arun has been able to join yet. So at this point in time, then I would like to invite Dr. Chawla. To start with, I request everyone to unmute, including Dr. Chawla also. Dr. Chawla, please take a few minutes to talk about yourself, and then whenever you say, I'll press the click on your behalf to release the report.
All right. Talking about oneself is a very difficult job. Huh? You have put two-liners which are good enough, but anyway. See, I have a problem that when somebody else does it, it more reads or sounds like an obituary. And I myself don't want to do it. So I'll try to be as brief as possible on this, that I had my entire career divided into two parts. I was a career banker with State Bank for almost 16 years. And after that, I joined TCS, Tata Consultancy Services. And there I spent almost quarter of a century. And the last role that I was doing in TCS was I was handling the data privacy program, GDPR and data privacy program of TCS from the TCS as a data controller perspective. That was from almost beginning of 2017 to July 2020 when I finally signed off from TCS. Before that, I was heading the HR for TCS North India operations, as well as one of the business units, which is life sciences and healthcare. Now, of course, the names have changed. The scope of work in a particular unit has also changed. There is a concept of business group, etc., etc. But when I was heading that unit, it was global HR head for life sciences and healthcare unit. And before coming to HR in 2008, I was an accidental and unwanted entry into HR, because most of the conventional HR in TCS never wanted an outsider. But the then boss said, do you want to be my HR head? I said, I would love to do that. And a lot of the conventional HR people did not like it. But anyway, I had my way and I got into it because I realized that academically I had all the credentials. A doctorate degree from IIM Ahmedabad in organizational behavior, so it makes it a perfect match. And before that, I have done a lot of funny things in TCS. I joined in management consulting, then moved to products, then banking products, then assurance, testing, quality. In fact, Daman worked with me for a very long time in our stint in Quartz Group. And then global consulting practice. I was heading the Center of Excellence a couple of times. And of course, on the project side, and 2008, I stepped into HR. My only regret is that there were a couple of functions in TCS which I still could not do because I retired. Finance I couldn't do and admin I couldn't do. I would have loved to do that as well. So this is the background, and after signing off from TCS in 2020, I'm a freelance consultant, and I try to give whatever I have accumulated in the last 40 years to organizations, individuals, etc., wherever required. And I'm registered on various consulting platforms, so I keep myself busy, and that's what my entire summary of career is. I don't know, Daman, you want me to cover the brief about the report as well?
If you wish, yes,
Very
please.
brief.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So it was very intriguing when Daman initially approached me that, do you want to be a part of this? By chance, I was occupied with some other things at that point of time, so I couldn't become an active member of this survey. But as Daman shared the way the survey was progressing, and some of the findings, when I look at them, one finding, second finding, third finding, you tend to have a feeling, oh, I knew it. Oh, I knew it. I expected it to be that way. Now, any kind of survey that you do, or maybe at an academic level, if you do some deep research, many times your inferences look, oh, I knew it. They give you that feeling. But the damn good thing about a thing of this kind is that you knew it by gut, but here is what 250 plus respondents say. So it gives credibility to whatever your gut said. It is very easy to belittle such a survey saying we knew all this. But the real good thing about the survey is what looked obvious, now it is backed by empirical data. So that's fantastic about the survey. And I believe I must compliment the entire team. You people got in 6 weeks, right, Daman?
Yes, 6 weeks.
In 6 weeks, you people got 250 plus responses, which is phenomenal, because I remember when I was doing my fellow program, my doctoral program, and I was collecting data for my thesis. It took me a year and a half to get about 380 responses. And the fact was, the sector was banking where I was, and I could always approach people and all that. Only thing is, those days there was no survey monkey. It was all physical questionnaires and all that.
Right.
So this is the interesting part. Second very interesting part about the survey is that a lot of people, starting, let us say, beginning of 2020, had sounded the obituary of a place called office, the physical office. Even at that time, because I was working, and I was from March 3rd week, I started working from home, and the kind of situation I saw at home, it was such that I realized that I have spent 4 decades in the corporate world. So perhaps, and maybe I am mature enough to handle all this. What will happen to the young kids in HR, my HR team, who will be required to handle it?
I like that.
In many parts of the world, a lot of these people will be living in joint families. So you perhaps have the employee, his or her spouse, and maybe 1 or 2 kids, the parents, some cases sibling. So, and they live in a 1-bedroom house. Now, the simple management of where people will sit, how they will ensure privacy, how they will ensure that the company information is kept secure, it offered so much of challenge. For me, of course, the challenges were of a different kind. Here, 3 of us and 2 dogs. The only thing that I had to worry most of the time was, even if I closed my bedroom door, the dogs barking, I could not. Their voice was there. So I used to clarify up front that if you hear 2 dogs barking, I just can't do anything about it. But the challenges were huge. And today, of course, a lot of companies have started talking about, they have started giving timelines that we will vaccinate our employees completely by this and this month end, or this and this week. And after that, gradually we will start asking people to join back. Some organizations have gone to the extent and designed policies and procedures that if you don't get fully vaccinated, there are impacts on your career and compensation and all that.
I don't know this.
And
That's interesting.
Yes.
All
yeah.
right.
And also some organizations have also gone to the extent, some people have not got themselves vaccinated, So if you don't get vaccinated, there is an end date to it. After that, you start to lose out on something in the organization.
All right. That's
For me,
interesting.
for me, the most important thing was human beings. I mean, we are gregarious animals. We are social animals. We want to be in company of other people. I have always, as an OB and HR person, I have strongly believed that when we are with each other, we draw a lot of positive, maybe some bit of negative energy from each other. So this arrangement of work from home or remote working is never going to survive if it is a permanent model. So that is again an interesting aspect on which the respondents have given their response in the questionnaire. The third important and the last one, I mean, I'll just end after this. Third point is that how often we hear about the mental well-being of employees. What COVID will do physically, that's one part of it.
Yeah.
I myself had COVID in April. I got vaccinated in March, but I had COVID in April. And if somebody asked me, have you recovered 100%, even 3 months after that, I would say, well, not 100%. Of course, I got my second vaccination and a week back. And you go on with that. And with 4 decades of experience, did I face any mental issues? Did I face any mental health issues? Of course, I did. I remember having not stepped out of the house on the second floor in Delhi for what, 16 months now.
Yeah.
So your world has changed. Your world has shrunk drastically.
Yes.
And imagine a lot of young professionals. One more point which is important, so let me just take that liberty, that working hours have become 24 hours. You know, typically what happens is, if I take the example of IT industry, most of the organizations have structure where the HR team services teams globally. So the Singapore geography opens up at a certain point of time, and then India people start demanding, and then you have, I mean, when I say Singapore, means related geographies which are early, which are before India. And then the Europe starts in, and by the time these people are dead tired and they will fall asleep in meetings, the US wakes up. And because they are servicing the customers across the globe, they work 24 hours. I mean, my erstwhile team still talks to me quite frequently. We have a WhatsApp group on which we chat, and I'm aware of what is happening. So the boundary when the work ends, there is no boundary which defines that.
Right.
Of course, I keep suggesting, which I will share here also as my last remark is, I have told them that you have to decide yourself when is your screen off time. Decide on your screen off time. Let us say 8 p.m. is your screen off time, which means your mobile, your pad, your computer, everything, including your TV. And morning till X time, I'm totally screen off, and tell it to your boss. Nobody on earth will object to that. This is a fairly professional way of handling this stress. So fantastic job done, all of you. Many congratulations, and I believe this survey will lead to kind of some excitement, some commotion, some objection, but that's part of life. So all the best, and Daman, on my behalf, if you can just click for the launch, whatever.
Thank you very much. First of all, Dr. Chawla, a couple of views that you have said. While we two didn't discuss all those points, it seems we two are in sync on that. I know there are many people who have difference of opinion with us, but all that I have said about work from home is 100% in line with what I have been saying. And I've done about 70 mini surveys, just asking 1-2 questions. One question is, are you or were you, when the lockdown was, eagerly looking forward to going back to office? 50% people say yes on average. It has gone to 100% also in some surveys. That doesn't mean that remaining 50% are happy working at home. That is another aspect that we can think of, right? So yes, I'm happy. Thank you very much. Allow me a few seconds, please, all of you. I request everyone to unmute, please. I'm clicking the button on behalf of Dr. Chawla, but when he does release the book, please clap loudly. Everyone, please unmute yourselves. Wish, if you can.
Chris is still muted. Yeah. Nalin is muted.
So here we go. On behalf of Dr. Chawla, the button gets right. Thank you very much, Dr. Chawla. This is how the report looks like. As committed, at the end of the session, by the end of the day, this report, full report, will be shared with all those who have participated in the event. With this, then I'll request our next speaker, Nalin, please come on and share your views with us, including few words about yourself also.
Okay. Good morning,
Nalin
good
is
afternoon.
from New Zealand for information, very late there. So that's first of all, we appreciate that very much, Nalin.
You are most welcome. And first of all, let me congratulate Daman for this excellent job you had done. I think it's very timely when the whole world is impacted with this pandemic and when people's emotions are really tested. This was the ideal time. I thought it was very, very, very timely, and I'm so happy that I got involved. Little bit of background about me. Originally, I am from Sri Lanka, and then I moved to Dubai and worked there for 23 years. It's a very long, most of my career was spent there. I really enjoyed that place. And then 10 years ago, I, with my family, moved over to New Zealand, and I'm here. I was working for large banks in Sri Lanka and in Dubai. And then I came over to New Zealand and was with KPMG. And now I'm running my own consulting and audit practice here in New Zealand. Actually, I got into business continuity with the Y2K. And it is a very interesting, challenging time when people that time did not know what business continuity is, but today it has become like a household name. Everybody is talking of the two keywords. One is continuity, another one is resilience. So this is like a buzzword today. Everybody is talking about resilience, and it's so important that, resilience means, not only the physical aspect, but also the human resilience. That's very important. That's why this study is as a great relevance. Actually, so two things about this study. Of course, one of the main features, it's a global. So because people's culture has a big impact on this, how people respond. Because I wish, you had also had the opportunity to cover some European countries and Americas. Of course, you have got Canada, but each country, how they look at, in the new normal, we are in a new normal, and definitely we are not going to get back. So in this context, how people, their emotions vary is very interesting to look at, and this is actually just just the surface, scratching the surface, but there's a lot to uncover if you go right deep down. So that is one thing. So I don't want to take too much of time. The second thing is you had not restricted to any level of employees or any type of employees, because each one, even in the same organization, the emotional impact for a senior executive to a lowest employee is totally different.
Absolutely.
Because there are challenges and various lifestyles are all varied, and that has an impact on the human emotions. So these are the two things very important. Actually, this is just a start. As I said, there's a lot to uncover and dig deep down, and it will be really, really interesting. And I'm really looking forward to participate in this exercise. Thank you so much again, and every one of you. So who I was, silently observing the comments and inputs. It was really encouraging and a lot of learning for anybody. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Nalin. With this, may I request Chris to come up, please? Chris has joined us from Australia. Again, very late there. Highly appreciated. Chris, I noticed you had a couple of comments in the chat box also. So I'll request if you can cover those also while you speak.
Thanks very much. Greetings from Canberra, Australia, the federal capital. Yes, as Dr. Chawla was speaking, I was thinking about some of the things that are happening in Australia, and to support some of his points about businesses requiring COVID vaccination. So I put an example of that with SBC, which is a large cannery in Shepparton, Victoria, which announced this week that it would require their staff and visitors to be vaccinated and to show evidence of vaccination. And further to Dr. Chandra's excellent point, there's been a phrase throwing around that we might be interested in: working at home or living at work. And to
Yes.
highlight that point and introduce myself for those of you who are not familiar with me, my first degree was in industrial and organisational psychology. And I've done a lot of work over the years in stress and trauma and this type of work for police and emergency services. So I've been very interested in this whole conundrum that we now call resiliency, both personally from my psychology background, but also my work in emergency management, which is trying to make a resilient country of Australia, which is very disaster prone. And of course, now I work in business continuity, where I argue I'm working on one business at a time, being more resilient. So I was very interested in the opportunity to join with the other authors in this enterprise that Damon brought us all together. Thank you. And I'll just draw from the report a couple of questions that were of particular interest to me, which was the one about personal safety, health and safety, when you compare that with concern for family members and other ones. I've observed this very much from my police career, where you're more concerned about your loved ones than you are about your own welfare. And this survey reinforces that view when you look at the results on question 16 and compare it with question 22. Another one that was of particular interest to my colleagues and I at the Institute of Strategic Risk Management, we have a Friday evening fireside chat, or campfire as we call it, online with a number of Europeans and others participating. And we're becoming increasingly concerned about the breakdown of society and the real problem of demanding many boundaries, as you pointed out, Dr. Chawla, staying at home for lengthy periods, and what the implications are for that when people push back. We've had demonstrations in Australia that have indicated that not everyone is entirely supportive of the COVID restrictions. There are some people who have a quite different view. And that leads me to question 26 about the future. I think Nalin was absolutely right. There is no going back. Whatever was business as usual in the past is gone. We are in the new normal, and the smart businesses that I'm working with are planning for the next normal, and also being mindful that that next normal could be a tsunami of mental health challenges. So I'll finish at that point. Thank you so much, and great to see you all this evening. Thank you. It's evening for me.
Thank you very much, Chris, for bringing out some points based on the questions also from the report. With this, I believe next speaker was expected to be Ara from Philippines, and she has not been able to join. Once again, I know last 10 days or so, 2 weeks or so in Philippines had been very challenging for them. So maybe she's busy there or got busy there all of a sudden once again. So my apologies to the viewers that she's not with us. I'll request Dr. Reshma to come up, please, then. And again, just like other speakers, Dr. Reshma, a couple of words about yourself, and then if you would like to talk about the report or about the topic, which I know is close to your heart also.
Yes, it is. It is. Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Reshma, founder and director of two ventures. One is Janakanksha, that's an NGO that's working with women and children, and another venture that's the company called The Catalyst, which is a training and research consultancy. And I have my doctorate in social work with an experience of more than 2 decades with working with organizations, international organizations like UNICEF, UN Habitat, WHO, CARE, and USAID. So I have been very close to working with people, and I have been talking about resilience from a very long time as a social worker as well. And when Daman and I had a word when we were doing a panel discussion, and that was the time when it all started, and we said that because I'm also a life coach and I've been coaching people, there have been executives and leaders coming to me, and they had such great problem. Like Dr. Chawla said, I mean, our worlds have merged. Our worlds have merged completely, where the work and life has no balance at all. And when we are talking about maximizing our life, that's become a question mark at the moment, with the kind of work from home, entire thing. And like Nalin said, it's here to stay for a very long time. So I thought that was the right time when Daman said that we need to work on it and let's do it fast. And I was a little apprehensive about it because for me, like Dr. Chawla said, as a doctorate, I mean, having doing the kind of survey in just 6 weeks was something which I felt probably wouldn't be possible, but yes, we all made it possible, and that kudos to us all, and we really did it. And 250 plus is a big number in those 6 weeks, and I think the findings have been really great. Like even earlier Daman said, and even Dr. Chawla said, that they have resonated with other studies that have been done in the industry, and also some of them where they're different. So that's the base of all the findings. That's been excellent findings, and I think this is the right moment. I think Daman, I mean, you also would agree to it. This is the right moment where we have been really able to come out with this survey report and be able to appeal to the industry, to the employers there, that the kind of support their employees need, the kind of support and care we need. Mental health is always been a taboo, has always been a taboo from age old.
Big
But now we
challenge.
all understand it's a big challenge. And now we understand the importance of actually the mental well-being when we are talking about people in our workforce. It's not about the organization cannot grow without maintaining a health and well-being of their employees. And this is the right time, as Daman calls us the Magnificent Seven. I think we are all ready here to take it on, help industries get into really doing this kind of an assessment, and also chalking out a fair plan of how do they really take it forward and bring in procedures, policies, and guidelines to be able to maintain that kind of well-being among the people. With that, I would like to end and thank you, Daman, for everything and making this happen in such a short time. Kudos to you. Hats off.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah.
Thanks, Dr. Reshma. At this point in time, I request let's all clap together for all the speakers that we had this afternoon, evening, morning. I'll take few more minutes to share few points from the report. Please allow me to share my screen at this point in time. Quick view of the report now that has been released globally today. So 6 weeks we took in data collection. We got exactly 259 responses from 42 countries. And the analysis was done manually. So no machine was used, no artificial intelligence was used in this. There could be errors and mistakes also, it's possible. But that's what I would say, even if there are errors, even if this report raises some eyebrows, raises some questions, perceptions, I believe we will be successful in our first attempt, and we will commit to do more. Looking at the participation, we would call it was experienced people's poll, which to me means a lot. Whether we go by age-wise participation, or we go by qualification-wise participation, or we look at work experience-wise participation, this was an experienced people's poll. I would like to put a lot of emphasis on this point. Also, we got good mix of occupations from responses that we received. Within this, these are few that have picked up, not all. The report has got full details. If you look at industry-wise, industry sector-wise participation, main participation came from BFSI, education, consulting, disaster emergency management, government, health, IT research. Within that, top three would be BFSI, education, and IT. While this was not intentional, it was by chance, because the survey was promoted within our context. So it is possible that we have contacts more in these industries. If we look at conclusions quickly, age, qualification, and working demographics indicate that the survey respondents were experienced people. I'm repeating this. People with no dependents were more stressed and or emotionally drained. We may have difference of opinion within the world, within the group also, but this is how it has come out of the survey. This is what we would like to admit. And if you look at industries, it seems education, IT, and BFSI, people in these sectors were emotionally more impacted compared to other industries. Out of the report, this is kind of summary. Good news picked up, we have picked up 5 points. The crisis was not seen as end of the world. That's very good point, we believe. People did not feel lost. Basic supplies such as groceries and medications continue to be available to most respondents. At this point, we would like to say that this perhaps is a pat on the back for the governments and other sectors, the producers, the truck and lorry and train drivers, the stores that kept open, people kept working, while we know even the medical staffs, not only doctors and nurses, but the support staffs also continued, and few other sectors which were made mandatory to be opened or could remain open. Right? But we would like to appreciate, we would like to bring this on record, our appreciation for these people. Breakup with partner was not a concern for many respondents. That's a good point. Once again, I'm saying these are conclusions, good news. Few respondents experienced the loss of a loved one, and our thoughts are with us. And we all, I believe, I'm saying 7 of us first who got involved in the survey and the report, but I believe all of us who are in this session, our thoughts are with them, with their families. We hope that they have been able to recover now. But there was some less good news also came out of the survey listed in the report. Prime concern, number one concern came out to be health and safety of family members. People were worried about their family members. Second, only my personal health and safety. The third point was came out to be that people were not able to enjoy what they were doing, or they couldn't do what they enjoyed. Anxiety about own future was number 4 worry. And number 5 was people thought that this pandemic, this crisis, which most likely is the longest one that we have seen, I believe it's not over yet. We may be seeing phase 3, 4, 5 somewhere in the world anytime soon. Possible breakdown of society was number 5 concern in the minds of the people. And then obviously the question would be, so then what's next? How do we use this report, or what are the next steps? So we would like to make few points around that also. This report provides pointers towards making your people resilient. And we believe, in the past we used to say people make organizations. Today, I believe we must be saying resilient people make resilient organizations. So this report provides a pointer towards that. Also will help provide organizations pointers towards making informed and inclusive decisions regarding work from home in current, or it may happen once again anytime in future. So this is kind of a learning we could pick up. Also seeking employees' needs and expectations so that the actions could be drawn appropriately. Point 4 is importance of mental health. A couple of speakers also have said that. And establishing importance and need of conducting EIA, emotional impact assessment, on a regular basis. And we are recommending this to be done on a regular basis. Some of us in the world would know EIA earlier also. We thought of ISO 14001, environment management system, and there used to be environmental impact assessment of my process when it was running. And then we came to BCM and we did BIA there, business impact analysis, when the process would be down. And this is emotional impact assessment we are talking of. When there has been a big disaster crisis, process went down, but has been restarted because of BCM, and then emotional impact of that process running in a crisis mode. So this is how this EIA is very important according to us. We recommend to be done on a regular basis. At this point, we would like to thank once again, my thanks to all speakers who spared time to come in for this, and all participants. At this time, we have time for questions also, and you may like to unmute and switch on cameras also. Any questions to me, to other thought leaders we are calling ourselves, who were involved in the survey, or our special guest, Dr. Chawla? Any questions from anyone to anyone? I'll be happy to spend some time around that.
Hi, Daman. This is Kumar here.
Yes, Kumar. You can switch
My
on camera.
apologies. Yeah, that's what my apologies. I won't be able to. The question that I had was the assessment that we saw. I was not able to see the medical staff or the people who are in the medical line in the assessment. So were they also part of the assessment, or were they excluded because of obvious reasons?
Okay, so I'll answer this on behalf of the thought leaders. This was not an exclusion on purpose by design. There have been responses from health workers also, from some people from the hospitals also. Now we have doctorates and we didn't differentiate whether they were medical doctors also, but a good amount of responses have come from doctorates also, but it was not by design. It's by chance, and I'm repeating because the promotion of the survey was within our context, our social medias generally. So maybe our contexts are of this type, that they are less in our context from the medical fraternity. This is all.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Thanks, Daman.
Any other questions? Brian, you
typed in if something. I can, yes, Daman, I was not involved intensely in the exercise, but just to add to what you responded to Kumar, I believe the medical fraternity, or as you call the frontline health workers, etc.
Yes.
Imagine their situation.
Yeah.
You know, they were handling the people who were suffering from COVID, and they had the similar problem with any normal human being has.
Exactly.
So I don't know if a standard survey would do justice to what they are going through. They have gone through.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Just to share with you all, I will say I have been lucky. I didn't fall sick myself, but I was taking care of multiple people who were sick seriously. And I had to wear the PPE kit, full PPE kit also, twice, taking care of them. And while all my life, I always had huge respect for doctors and huge respect for the people at the front, at the border, who take care of our nation. But when I wore PPE kit, I realized what they have been had been going.
Yeah, yeah.
Great job by them. Without them, we wouldn't have survived. I'm sure about that.
I'm sure there'll be separate forums for them to have their assessments done as well.
Yes, we should be doing. We'll attempt. Yes, we will go to some medical doctors most likely, and then attempt. Yes, this is only beginning. I'll say this is not the end. I'm very sure 7 of us, and we're happy if other people would like to join hands. We need to do more, and we will do more for sure.
Great. Thanks, Daman.
Thanks, Kumar.
And thank you, Mr. Anil, as well.
Any other questions? Let me check chat. There have been some typings in chat. If there are any questions? Okay, it seems no questions. Then maybe last few words from all speakers.
Hey, Daman.
Yes, please. Sanbir, yes.
This is Sanbir. I did post something on the chat. Just wanted to get suggestions of this group on, you did mention that resilient people make resilient organizations. And how can we make our teams more resilient? How can we make team members or employees more resilient? What's your advice?
Okay, thank you very much. Then I'll wait this time. I'll pass it on to others first. And if required, then I'll add my views. Who would like to pick up? Chris, Dr. Reshma, Nalin, and Dr. Chawla also, if you wish. How do we make our teams resilient? That's, I believe, in short, is Sanbir's question.
May I start?
Okay.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Actually, resilient, to make people resilient, there is no quick fix. It is, I would say, it is more a lifestyle or a culture. When you talk of people, you don't have a formula. It's not like, like you cannot really measure resilient like, measuring productivity. So it is a process of bringing that culture, and there are some value systems to make people resilient. If we go that way, if we adopt that route, I think it is more sustainable and it will last. If we want to have a mechanical approach, to have some formula and some like switching on, switching off, it will not work the way it should work. That is my sort of thought. So we can contribute to making people resilient. That is what actually I do. Apart from my business continuing work, I am also a voluntary yoga teacher. So during the COVID, the number of people who saw the value of yoga was unbelievable. Actually, I live in a place called Botany in Auckland. The library opened up, in one of the big halls, and now we have every Sunday at 10 o'clock yoga, and it's full. Actually, some people are seeing from the glass and they are practicing the asanas from outside. So things like that, this is a culture, it's a behavioral thing. I mean, that's how, when you are resilient, you are physically, mentally, emotionally resilient, you take that into your workplace, your family and all that. It is a holistic thing. You can't just, say I'm resilient in the office and not resilient. It is a lifestyle. That is.
I like that. I like that. Thanks. Okay. Thanks, Nalin. Chris, you wanted to add something?
Nalin, Sanbir, please go ahead.
No, it's okay, Dr. Chawla. You can go ahead. I'll go ahead later. Yeah.
Okay, Sanbir, see, first thing is, I think when there is so much of uncertainty and you are facing a new animal, it is best to go back to basics. There are things which are fully in your control. There are things which are partially in your control. And there are things which are in somebody else's, within your organization's control. And then there are things which are in crowd's control or people's control. People means others. So I'll just take with an example which, I mean, sorry to say, but it represents a very dark side of humanity. This is a strange virus that, I mean, it doesn't distinguish between one individual and the other individual, nationality, religion, community, etc., etc. So what is the best way for you to operate? And this is where the dark side comes. Assume that everybody around you is COVID positive and take precautions whatever are required. In fact, that is how 16 months we have operated. Still we got COVID. So when you assume, you take precautions that, okay, if the next guy is not taking precautions, is walking without a mask,
It's gone.
I mean, in India and in many other countries, this situation is there. For example, what is the situation in US? There were people who just refused to wear masks.
Yeah.
In Europe, after some time, when people got tired, they went out on beaches and freaked out.
Right.
And you know what happened next. Now, so go back to basics with this. What is in your control model? And second is, because a lot of people were working remotely, that mantra, screen off time, it actually forces your boss also to become flexible or resilient in your terms. Your boss knows that this fellow is not going to be available. After all, if your mobile is off, your computer is off, tab is off, how the hell the person is going to, and with all respect to the Microsoft team, I think Microsoft Teams is the worst thing that happened to the world. It can, I hope there's nobody from Microsoft in this call, but anyway, I will stick my neck out. So I suggest the moment you do screen off, Teams also should be absolutely shunted out of your life. And second point, this yoga thing which was raised, in fact, I think those people who were or who had been doing it earlier, they definitely got. I've been kind of practicing it for almost 20 years or maybe more than that. So what I did was I made it a point that because you are confined within the four walls of your house, so you need to add something physical. And our youngsters, young professionals, when they stay in maybe even a smaller house, for them to add some physical exercise. So yoga is one part, which I don't know if that generation will take to it so easily, but doing
Yes.
something physical, you don't always need a gym to do exercises.
Right.
I mean, you need a rope. You can just skip if your legs are fine. You can do something similar. You can get some weights and do some weights training at home. So I believe that a concoction of these few points may actually help making the team members resilient. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Just
I would
looking at the
like to-
time, 5
I
minutes.
would like to-
Dr. Reshma
I
and
would-
Chris, if
yes.
you both can take a
Just-
couple of minutes, that would be great.
Yes, yeah. I would like to add to Sanbir's question. I feel when we're talking about resilience, we are as humans basically able to spring up after situations. Some may take time, some may not, depends. I mean, Chris will agree on that. Everybody has their own threshold, okay, when they can come back and not. So I think what works for teams, managing teams, is that a different level of combination of approaches. It is not like a one set rule that will work. It is a combination of approaches, whether Nalin said about yoga, or Dr. Chawla spoke about skipping, or exercises. But I think as a leader of the team, one needs to ensure that there is one-to-one coaching, okay, of people. There is a training how they need to really learn mindfulness, because that really helps them deal with their stress and stressful situations. Because usually what happens is that you get so bogged down by the work around you, that, like we said, that the work is stretching so much, with long hours of work, that people really aren't able to deal with those kind of situations. So I think it's a combination of different approaches, whether it's online trainings on resilience, or on mindfulness, or those kind of healthy ways of dealing with things. I think that would really work, Sanbir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chris, your words.
Yeah, super fast, Aman. I think you can nurture personal resilience. You can't inject it. So by having things like yoga and exercises, and if you look in the chat, Brian's been talking about one-on-one sort of coaching of your staff members to encourage them through these difficult times. there's a whole array of strategies to nurture personal resilience rather than try and inject it.
Thank you very much. I like that. There is no injection for resilience. My 5 points before we close. While this session was very close to mental well-being, right? So that's 1 point for sure. When we think of personal resilience, we need to be mentally strong. So this is 5 points. We need to be strong, I'm talking about. But physical strength also is equally important. So being strong physically and spiritually also. Being strong with knowledge also. I need to know more. I need to learn more to be resilient. And finally, again, arguable perhaps, money also. Money is not everything in life, I believe, but it means a lot also to all of us. So this is our 5 points to make personal resilience. Might take 2 minutes. Any final words? Someone badly willing to add?
Could I just add one thing?
Yes, please, Brian. Yes.
Awesome. This is an absolutely awesome idea. Well done. I mean, all I can say is congratulations, and you got my vote. I'm definitely going to be following what you do and help. Looking at it from a slightly different perspective, this is a big, big, big social change that we have to undergo. And I don't think that we are even nearly ready for this yet, but we have to move fast. And it has to come from leadership. And leaders need to understand this before they can actually deliver that. They don't understand it themselves. They're also stressed. So this has got to be a collective effort across the whole organization. And it's not just for the mental wellness. As you say, the team is resilient, the company will be resilient. And if a company needs to be resilient, they have to look at the individuals. And so the old days of when I grew up, when you said that cowboys don't cry and we all got taught that, that's not the case anymore. One has to actually deal with the reality of every single personality in the organization. And that's going to take a lot of coaching, a lot of training, and a lot of stuff. So I think what you started is absolutely amazing. Let's make it happen. Well done.
Thank you very much. With this then, exactly 1 hour, I would like to thank you all. Let's clap for all of us all together. Without you, this wouldn't be successful. This is only beginning, that's for sure. Our commitment, we need to work together, and I'll be back with you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Many congratulations and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Great job.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.